My name is Brenda. I am 42 years old and I live in a beautiful 5-bedroom house in the wealthy suburbs of Chicago. In our neighborhood, the lawns are perfectly manicured, the driveways are filled with imported SUVs, and the marriages are mostly held together by shared mortgages and pure stubbornness. I thought my husband David and I were the exception. I was completely wrong.
David is a senior partner at a prestigious accounting firm. He worked 80-hour weeks, but he always made time for my best friend, Sarah. Sarah lived 3 doors down. She was freshly divorced, always needing help with her sprinkler system or her Wi-Fi. I thought David was just being a good neighbor. It turns out he was being a lot more than that. The truth always leaves a digital footprint.
It happened on a Tuesday. David left his iPad on the kitchen counter. He thought he had turned off the cloud syncing. He hadn't. I opened it to check a recipe, and a text popped up from Sarah. It said, "Last night was amazing. Tell Brenda you have a conference in Miami next weekend." I scrolled back. 3 years. They had been sleeping together in my house for 3 entire years. Most women would have thrown his golf clubs onto the front lawn. They would have screamed, cried, and hired a divorce lawyer that afternoon. But I didn't shed a single tear. When you realize your entire life is a lie, a strange, beautiful clarity takes over. I realized that if I confronted him then, he would hide his money. I didn't just want a divorce. I wanted absolute, total destruction. David was an accountant, so he thought he was the smartest guy in the room, but he was careless. Over the next 4 months, I played the loving, oblivious wife. While he was working late at Sarah's house, I was slowly, legally moving assets. I opened an independent bank account. I secured the best forensic accountant in the city. I copied every single financial document, tax return, and hidden ledger. David's firm was hosting their annual charity gala. It was the most important night of his career. He was up for a managing partner position. Sarah, of course, bought a $3,000 dress for the event, attending as a friend of the family. David told me to look my best. He said we needed to project the image of the perfect, successful American family. I promised him I wouldn't disappoint. The gala was in a grand hotel ballroom. The champagne was flowing, and the senior partners were giving their speeches. I excused myself from our table, where Sarah was sitting right next to my husband. I walked up to the audio-visual booth. I handed the technician a USB drive and a $100 bill. I told him it was a surprise tribute video for my husband's big promotion. He plugged it right in. The massive screens above the stage flickered on. But it wasn't a tribute. It was a massive high-definition screenshot of their text messages. Explicit photos, hotel receipts, and messages where David laughed about hiding money from his partners. The music stopped. 400 of Chicago's wealthiest professionals stared at the screen. David choked on his drink. Sarah tried to run for the exit. I walked over to the microphone on the stage. I looked down at my husband, whose face was completely pale. "Congratulations on the promotion, David," I said. "My lawyer will serve you in the morning."
And to the partners at this firm, you might want to audit his client accounts. He has a habit of keeping 2 sets of books. The silence in that ballroom was the sweetest thing I have ever tasted.
It has been a year. David was fired the next morning and is currently under federal investigation for embezzlement. Sarah had to sell her house and move away in total disgrace. I kept the 5-bedroom house, the cars, and my absolute peace of mind. They thought I was just a naive housewife they could play for a fool. But they forgot one simple rule. Never hand a woman the matches to burn you down.